case you hadn't guessed already, it snowed! Yay! Fudge's first experience of snow, so she was a little bit perplexed when the door was opened at 8 o'clock in the morning and the whole garden was full of snow. She enjoyed it, and she's been enjoying jumping around in it, playing in it, digging it, all the usual things that dogs like to do, and she's been having a whale of a time.
Is it snowing, Fudgy? What's that?
Ready? Here we go.
She doesn't know what to make of it. It's so funny. Seems to like it. Went on a sort of long 2-hour walk, and it was quite funny because all the roads were snowed over, so there was just no cars anywhere, which was just great because it meant that we could just walk with her without having to worry about her having on the lead. You know, she could just enjoy herself, run around, and as we were walking along the road, you know, we came across lots of children playing in the streets and having snow fights and building snowmen, and it was just brilliant because it just really made me think how nice it was that the children could play in the streets, you know, not worrying about cars, not worrying about being kind of I think we live in a world in which everyone's sort of rushing around so quick to get everywhere, continually in a rush, and zooming about the place. But I just think it's a real shame because it's, you know, here we are in the 21st century and we basically can't even, you know, figure out a way of having, you know, efficient transport and at the same time to enable children to be able to have enough space to play in, and, you know, for dogs and animals to run around in. It's a real shame, I think. It constantly perplexes me that, you know, governments spend billions and billions of pounds on all these various technological projects and things, and yet can't even seem to be able to, you know, figure out a way for people to live in a more sort of suitable environment in which children can play happily and safely. And because I'm a great believer in your environment affecting, you know, your well-being, and I think it's no wonder that we have a society in which crime, increasing mental illness, increasing stress, increasing, you know, depression. It's because everyone's being crammed into sort of tiny houses, and all the playing fields have been sold off, and children don't have anywhere to play, and it's just, you know, housing developments. When you look at housing developments, they're just basically, you know, cramming as many families into a small space as they can. I think it's absolutely disgusting that we live in this kind of society which, you know, if we wanted to provide a better way of life, we could, but basically, you know, it's all down to money, and developers know they can make a lot more money by squeezing, you know, 100 families onto an acre or something, rather than, you know, comfortably providing, you know, say just a handful of families. Instead they have to cram as many on as possible, and most kids grow up now without a garden, or if they have a garden they'll have a tiny little garden. You know, most new developments, they'll just be crammed in tiny little gardens. It's a real shame, I think. Look at her whiskers. Oh, Fudgy. I do feel sorry for a lot of the younger generations, and it's, I mean, quite honestly, a lot of people talk about, you know, say how, oh, these, you know, younger people of today hanging around on street corners and things, but, you know, to be honest, like, if you're a kid growing up in the city or town, then, to be honest, there's not really a lot more else to do. I mean, all of the youth centres and playing fields and all of those sort of things have been cut. I can't smell anything. Oh, look at my face. But I think one of the nicest things about when it snows is just the sort of silence that kind of descends upon the whole place. It's just this real quietness. Suddenly you can't hear any cars. You know, it's just lovely, just quietness. I'm not saying we shouldn't have cars in the world, I'm just saying it's a real shame that, you know, we've just allowed cars and roads to permeate every section of our lives, really. I think, why can't there be ways of creating, you know, car-free residential areas where children can happily play on the streets without having to worry about being mowed down any second? You know, why can't we create? I mean, you know, the government used to ensure that there was building standards for all new build houses, and in, I think it was the early 80s, they stopped that. But, you know, just the size of the rooms, they're basically just making all the rooms smaller and smaller, the gardens smaller and smaller. Most people can't actually get their furniture in because the doors are so small. It's just so nice, the quietness. You can just hear the birds. So nice. No cars. Can't hear any cars at all. It's very peaceful. And the cockerel. It's lovely. Peaceful. Fudge. What do you think of the snow, eh? What do you think of the snow? This is what's known as a snowed block. Not quite sure why there's a snowed block on that side of the road.